Okay, this is not this is not what it looks like. Okay, and I know that's a weird way to start a commentary. All right, it's just a brief commentary. Hopefully, I'm just gonna shoot from the hip on this, but this is not what it looks like and shit. Okay, and the reason I say that is because the next thing I'm gonna say is Fantastic Four: First Steps. Okay, I watched the movie. All right, I'm not gonna say how I felt about it one way or the other because I'm shadow banned and I'm not getting paid for this shit. Disney ain't gonna line my pockets with nothing. I'm gonna tell you that I watched the fucking movie. And I watched a couple other movies and shit, in my downtime between making videos, trying to figure out what I want to do in my life and shit. So this is I watched Fantastic Four: First Steps. Some of you guys can, I don't know, maybe you checked out by now, but just stick around. This movie is set in an alternative, a parallel universe, not our universe, a parallel universe, a whole nother Earth, a whole nother reality. If you could, some of you can wrap your head around that shit. I don't want to be condescending or anything. I want to make my motherfucking point, but I have to explain this shit. That this is set in an alternative, futuristic version of the '60s. On an alternative, it's not our Earth, it's a different fucking Earth. Okay? Quentin Tarantino did the same goddamn thing in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And he didn't make no big deal about it. He didn't explain it to nobody or nothing. So, I apologize if I sound condescending to anyone listening to shit. But I have to make my motherfucking point about what, those women call diversity, equity, and inclusion and shit. Because I was sitting there watching the movie. I watched the movie, and then I thought about the movie, and then I went and looked at certain scenes, and I was looking for some black people and shit. Now, it's not like I'm not here to talk about representation. Like, oh, why they don't put no black people in the movie? But I am here to talk about why they don't put no black people in the movie. And when they do, you see who it is and shit. This is not. This is a British actress. Okay, I'm not even gonna say her fucking name. It's a fat chick. She was like, it seemed like their press secretary or lawyer or something. They never, I don't think they ever gave her a fucking name. If they did, I just made up some shit in my head because I didn't hear the bitch name. I just call her Mammy Mayers on the Gussie Mayers. So this is a futuristic version of the '60s in an alternative universe. I just seen most of the black people that I saw were this fat bitch and a couple of black girls, and I seen at least two black guys. One dude was sitting out in front of a cafe saying "Thank you, Fantastic Four," in a puff piece, news piece and shit. And he had some shoe boots on with the zipper on the side, if I recall. So I knew he was African or something. And then I seen the one black dude in the back. I can't. It goes so fast I couldn't even freeze frame it and see if who he was and shit. It was just a dark skinned brother, and he looked like a tether too. So there's no foundational black people in this alternative universe and shit. Okay, there's no. I didn't see any regular black people like myself. Okay, I did see a big fat mammy, and she appeared in a number of scenes, not speaking. She spoke in a couple of scenes, maybe one or two scenes, because she is a international actress and whatnot. So I had to give her something to do. So it was basically her coming in and saying, "Oh, they ready for you at the press conference. They ready. Come on out." And and she's like walking with her arm extended like a security guard, walking them to do the press conference and shit. And she greets them when they get off the fucking, you know, when they get off the spaceship. The Fantastic Four go, to see what the fuck's going on, like with the bad guy Galactus, right? And I'm not gonna get into all that. Okay, I'm a comic book reader and everything, but I know that like my page has become something bigger than what I intended it to be. And so that being said, the Fantastic Four arrive back from a mission, and this is the first thing they see. This fat chick walking up with some more people, and none of them was any black man behind her. There was some Asian people and I don't know some other kind of people. And I just thought like the scene would be so much more effective if she had like a whisk broom, like an old fashioned broom, just sweeping up the, where they're gonna walk and shit, and then put it behind her back when she see them to straighten up. this is this is why I don't like. I hate. I used to live in California, in Southern California. And, go in certain circles. I end up at some parties that maybe some people thought I shouldn't have been there, but like I would always get motherfuckers like liberals or something try and talk to me about some racial issues. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm drinking. I'm drinking. I got a Heineken in my motherfucking hand. Okay, and if you go when you go away and come back, I'm gonna have two motherfucking Heinekens. Okay, if you keep going away, I'm gonna keep having these Heinekens and shit in my hand. I'm gonna be drinking from four bottles to avoid having this conversation with your clueless ass. Leave us the fuck alone. Leave black people alone. Well, you see, like they want to, Disney been on this kick about like just burning their stock and shit. And I'm kind of mad because I had some Disney stock, in the inheritance that I was allowed to have and shit. They couldn't stop me because I was in another state and shit. So, I got that inheritance and I had some Disney stock that, I ended up having to use and shit to survive. Uh, yeah, I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, hey, so in this alternate universe, there's happy black tethers all over the place, and mostly girls. So I guess maybe this fat chick gave birth to the girls that I saw. They have a window. They have a scene where some little kids are looking in a window, and there's like one or two black girls there, but they're like one to two people behind the white and other race people. And I was just like, what the fuck? There's Jewish people here too. Ben Grimm is Jewish. He goes to a synagogue to pray and shit before they have. It's an okay movie. Okay, damn, they forced it out of me. Disney better send me like at least 50 cents for saying that. Okay, but I just get tired because like these women are always talking about, oh, we're fighting for inclusion and blah blah this that and other. I don't want to fucking hear this shit. I had to sit up here and watch this goddamn movie, and because I'm hypersensitive and what my platform is, I always key in when I see a black woman's face. I want to see what she's doing. I want to see if she's being hyper masculine or like she's a gay, you know, gruff lesbian with a rainbow mohawk or something or some other kind of shit. And if I see a dude that he's zesty, and I did see at least one zesty biracial looking guy in there. They have some guys in there. There's some butthurt white people can argue and say, "Look, there's a black person right there." And like, I don't want to have that kind of argument and shit. I want to talk about this fat black mammy I saw and shit. It irritated me, man. And they were dismissive of her. I don't, and I think the blonde lead, the female lead, said, "Oh, thanks, girl. We'll be right out. Okay, you going on now." And she escorted them out. She did not touch the baby. They did not let her touch the baby, or there was no talks like her talking to the fat black mammy in the kitchen or nothing. They could have had her like, making them some dinner or something, but they had the robot for that shit in Ben Grimm. Okay? They had the robot in Ben Grimm. They rather have a motherfucker made out of brick rocks, crumbly brick rocks, making their food in a fucking robot, like an old school robot, making their food than this fat black mammy. Okay? I asked like some people were, where I'm at and shit. I said, hey, who was that lady? And it's like, oh, that's like the lawyer, ain't it? I said, no, I thought it was the press secretary. I don't know who she is. They don't say who the fuck she is. I'm not like saying I need a whole scene to explain who this bitch is. At least give her a fucking name. What's her name? Miss Hampersham or something? Or Miss Slammy Joe? Miss Mammy Cake? So I don't know what her fucking name is. This shit get on my nerves and shit. I had a video coming up where this sister, another young feminist is sitting up decrying the lack of black representation in media. Yeah, right. Yeah, she's decrying that and shit. I'm thinking if I should just put out the commentary with no extras, just put it statically out, or should I just go all in on it? I haven't figured that out yet, so it hasn't come out. But hey, I watched Fantastic Four First Steps, and in the alternate 813 universe, I guess there was no slavery. Okay, there's no racial strife there during this time, which is set in the 60s. There's no racial strife in this retro-futuristic world and shit. And there are no foundational black Americans, but there are tethers and motherfuckers playing in the background. Probably one moist biracial I saw that played a reporter. And I don't even know if that was maybe a trans person or something. I don't know. But there is a big fat black mammy waiting for you when you go through some shit. She's waiting there, and they had some cutaway scenes of her seeing shit. Like she's in her apartment, and it's like dowdy looking. It's not even a good apartment and shit. And I'm like, they don't pay her no fucking money, and she be right there when the spaceship lands and shit, waiting to just say welcome and hi. With a porch monkey smile on her fucking face. Hey y'all, it's Fantastic Foes. I done swept up down here. And I put me some grits on that stove waiting for you. Ooh. Never seems like her watching them on TV and like fretting when they're like having difficulties or something. She's like, oh, oh. I'm like, damn, is that how is that how you tell us art and shit? I'm not African or anything. I'm a American. I'm a foundational Black American. I know you African people hate hearing that shit. I know y'all hate hearing that shit. You blame me, man. I'm like watching this shit. I'm a comic book fan. I'm a fan of Jack Kirby. He's one of my influences and shit growing up. Motherfucker. Okay, I got my nerd pedigree. Suck my dick, man. Why did I see a fat black mammy? Okay, why? Why? Just to be clear, I'm 56 years old. And I actually read real comic books that were printed on newsprint and shit. And I remember the 70s Spider-Man show, and they had Kim Phil's mother on there, Chip Phil's, and she had her natural hair out. She had like a short hairstyle. And I thought she was cute, but she was annoying. She was one of these masculine ass black women back in the 70s. And we pushed forward to 2025, and you got this smiling motherfucker. She just happy to be there, man. Hey, thank God I'm one of the only fat black women in the 813 alternate universe and shit. And I just be grinning like a porch monkey. Hey, you fantastic folks. The Pedro Pascal look like you. Like, hey, it's cool. Just don't get near the baby, okay? Don't touch that baby. I'm the smartest man in the universe. Don't touch this motherfucking baby, okay? We want him to grow up normal. Maybe they should have gave the fat chick to Galactus and okay, ate that bitch and been full and just fucked off somewhere. Those are my thoughts and shit, okay? Okay, I don't know. I'm a justice warrior for, the SYSBM Forever Shadow Band Clan. Hey man, enjoy the movie, okay? If anybody want to go see this bullshit, go enjoy the fucking movie. That's all I really got to say.